Hi guys, welcome back. My name is Robbie Masaga. Today I want us to discuss about a very powerful demonstration that Jane Elliott once did at the Oprah show. Jane Elliott is an educator and she recreated her famous brown eye, blue eye with an adult audience. And this experiment was to prove how discrimination works. I know majority of you have watched the experiment, but for those of you who haven't watched, let's watch this video here, then come back, we discuss about it. Let me know what you think about the same on the comment section. Yeah, let's watch. Remember to subscribe, like, and share this video to as many people as possible. Yeah, let's watch.
Today's audience was separated into two groups. Not on the color of their skin were they separated when they arrived. They were separated based on the color of their eyes. But they have no idea that they were separated. What we did was treat each group differently, discriminating against the people who have blue eyes, catering to those people with brown eyes.
Come on. What color your eyes? Blue? Over there. Put it on. No. Over there. Blue? Over there.
The blue-eyed people were pulled out of line, told to put on a green collar and wait outside. When the brown-eyed people arrived, they were told to step to the front of the line. Our staff was instructed to be extra polite to brown-eyed people and to discriminate against blue-eyed people like this one.
I understand that, but actually my license got stolen. And when I went to replace it,
I'm sorry, that's not our problem. You always have to have eyes anywhere you go.
Audience members with brown eyes were allowed to enjoy coffee and donuts. Those with blue eyes were left standing in a crowded room without refreshments for over 2 hours. The blue-eyed group became upset when they saw the brown-eyed people were being seated first.
Well, yeah, those people went in. What are they doing in there? Yes, nothing else.
So I just want to warn all of you who are watching, you know more than they know in the audience. Diversity expert Jane Elliott helped set up the experiment. She played along, telling our segregated audience that brown-eyed people were smarter than blue-eyed people.
I've been a teacher for 25 years in the public, private, and parochial schools in this country, and I have seen what brown-eyed people have done as compared to what blue-eyed people do. And it's perfectly obvious. And if I didn't believe it before this morning, you should have been here this morning when we brought these people in here.
Feeling discriminated against, the blue-eyed audience members were visibly upset.
She was rude to us, all of us. Yelled at us, called us names, pushed us aside. She was rude. This lady came out in the line with all of us people that had light-colored eyes and said, you put this green collar on now and keep it on, and if you don't, hit the road.
I want to say, why doesn't Jane have a green collar on? She's got blue eyes.
Because I've learned to act brown-eyed. I have a brown-eyed husband and 3 brown-eyed children.
Why did you?
And the message in this room is, act brown-eyed and you too can take off your collar. Act intelligently and you too won't need your collar. None of you have acted intelligently yet.
It wasn't long before the brown-eyed people bought into the idea that they were superior.
You people, look, it is... People, I had a girlfriend in school who was blue-eyed. She was so stupid. She was always copying off of my papers. These people were so rude and so noisy today, we couldn't hear ourselves even talk. It was ridiculous.
Eventually, the audience figured out the show was really about race. Now, he was so angry, he took off his collar way on early.
Yeah, we need to talk about that, taking off the collar. These people can take off their collars, and then nobody knows what color their eyes are from a distance. How many of you people of color can take off the collar that we have put on you? How many of you can take off your color? But if a black male refused to follow your orders, or your husband's orders, or your father's orders, on the street, you would not see that as being highly principled. You would see him as being an uppity nigger. How many of you people of color can leave when you get tired of racist behaviors directed toward you? How many of you can leave? Why not? There is no place to go in this country where there isn't racism. How many of you women, when you get tired of sexist behaviors directed toward you, can leave? None of you, because there's no place in this country where there isn't sexism. How many of you know a gay or a lesbian person who is real tired of the treatment we're giving them? People, we've lost 150,000 people to AIDS in this country. Now think about that. We lost 130-some to the Vietnam War in combat. People who are gay are being blamed for AIDS. We're calling AIDS a gay disease. And we're letting people die of it because we disapprove of their sexual orientation. I mean, the blue-eyed people are the better people in this room. Oh, yes, they are. Blue-eyed people are smarter than brown-eyed people. This is a fact. The brown-eyed people do not get to use the drinking fountain. You'll have to use the paper cups. You brown-eyed people are not to play with the blue-eyed people on the playground. Well, the brown-eyed people in this room today are going to wear collars so that we can tell from a distance what color your eyes are. You ready, Laurie? Brown-eyed. She's a brown-eyed. You'll begin to notice today that we spend a great deal of time waiting for brown-eyed people. I don't see the yardstick, do you?
It's probably over there. Hey, Miss Elliott, you better keep that on your desk when the brown-eyed people get out of hand.
Oh, you think if the brown-eyed people get out of hand, that would be the thing to use. Who goes first to lunch?
Blue-eyed.
The blue-eyed people. Blue-eyed people may go back for seconds. Brown-eyed people do not.
Brown-eyed.
Can one truly understand discrimination if they haven't experienced it? That's the question Miss Jane Elliott asked her third grade class right before she executed the famous brown versus blue-eyed experiment. In 1968, after the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Miss Jane Elliott was upset, disturbed, and heartbroken at the murder and the why. She then goes to her third grade class and she asks this question: do you believe you know what it feels like to be a black girl or boy? Well, then she followed that up with, how can one truly know what it is to be discriminated against if they've never experienced discrimination? So then she divides her class by the color of their eyes: brown eyes, blue eyes. She told the brown eyes that they were more superior, and she told them to place a collar around the blue-eyed children. My time was running a little low, but we just getting started, so check out part 2. So how did Miss Jane Elliott conduct her exercise? After identifying that the brown-eyed children were more superior, she began to then hand out privileges. The brown-eyed children were allowed more helpings at lunch, they had more time during recess, and then they were allowed to sit at the very front of the class. She also separated which water fountains they were allowed to drink at, and she also told the brown-eyed children that they were way more intelligent than the blue-eyed children. What differences did she note? She noted that the brown-eyed children became more arrogant, began to use more negative words to their other peers. And what did she notice from the blue-eyed? They became more reserved, their grades start to go down, and they were less likely to speak during class. The following Monday, she reversed the roles, making the blue-eyed children superior. And what she noticed is the treatment wasn't as severe as the previous week. Understanding, or the lack thereof, has a correlation to how you treat people.
Can prejudice be learned, and can it be unlearned? In 1968, Jane Elliott asked her third grade class if they think they know what it would feel like to be judged by the color of their skin. She told her third grade students that people with blue eyes are better and smarter than people with brown eyes. She told them that brown-eyed people do not get to use the drinking fountain. Brown-eyed people are not allowed to play with blue-eyed people on the playground. She even made the brown-eyed people wear like these collars, these fabric collars so that people could identify them as brown eyes.
Oh my God,
afar.
I don't remember this.
Mind you, this study was conducted the day after MLK Jr. was assassinated.
She woke up that morning after hearing that news, just like, rip up all the math books, ripped up the reading.
Oh, my kids are gonna learn something today.
You know what? Throw out the books. Today, class, we're going to learn a little bit about life.
She set up a bunch of rules, made segregation and discrimination within the class. Almost immediately, there were so many examples of prejudice. At recess, the blue and the brown-eyed third grade students stayed away from each other, and the kids said it felt like Mrs. Elliott was taking our best friends away from us. 2 kids were fighting at recess, and later on in class, they had to explain why they were fighting. And one kid said, "Russell called me names, and I hit him in the gut." Teacher says, "What did he call you?" "Brown eyes." And all of the other kids were like, "They always call us that." I was like, oh my God. Shut up, brown eyes. We're like, that becomes the slur. That becomes the insult. Oh, brown eyes thinks he can play basketball, huh? We all know brown eyes can't jump, all right?
We know brown eyes can't drive.
Well, like you've seen, Jane Elliott divided her audience into 2 groups based on the eye color, with the blue-eyed participants being deemed as superior, while the brown-eyed participants being labeled as inferior. We saw how the blue-eyed participants, how they received special treatment. They were shown where to sit, they were given food, they were treated with a lot of respect. and given, some privileges here and there. But we saw how the brown-eyed people were treated. They were not shown anywhere to sit. They were never served food. They had to stand for like 2 hours before they were shown somewhere to sit. Yeah, the setup created immediate emotional reaction. Many of the brown-eyed participants started to feel a bit of discrimination. They were frustrated. Some of them even protested, but Jane Elliott shut them down. She even reinforced their inferior status. One lesson we learned from this is how easily prejudice and entitlement can be adapted. The blue-eyed participants started to feel superior just because they were given privileges. Yeah, they started to treat the other group as less than. Yeah, and the other group, the effect of feeling inferior was immediate. And this is how the society works. You find that some groups always feel like they're above others, and some groups feel as less than. And people never understand this until it's done to you. That is now when you get to understand how the other group always feels. Majority of people who are participating on that experiment were these people, including the brown-eyed group, yeah? And they felt that kind of discrimination. It's exactly how some people feel in the society. We've seen these people being discriminated on each and every day, but no one feels that pain until you're put in that position. That is now when you get to understand how those people always feels. Yeah, you might treat someone with disrespect. You might treat someone like they are less than, and you won't feel pain until you are put in that position, until you are treated exactly the same. That is now when you'll understand how they will always feel. How many videos have we seen of white people asking black people, what are you doing in my neighborhood? And they don't feel like it's bad to ask people such like things. It doesn't feel bad to them. But the moment someone does the same thing to them, that is now when they feel it. There's a video of a white guy I watched the other day. He was being discriminated on back here in Africa. There's a group of, Africa is dominated by black people. So there's a group of black people. They were policemen. They were telling the guy to go back to where he comes from. And the guy was asking them, why would you tell me such a thing? How do you know I don't belong here? And I didn't feel good personally because I don't support such kind of treatment. You don't have to discriminate people just because they don't look like you, just because they don't come from your community. It's wrong. The guy felt bad. He kept asking them, why do you have to tell me such a thing? I'm very sure this guy had never experienced discrimination until that day. And I'm not saying it was okay for him to go through it. No. But I'm sure for a moment he felt how these people always feel when they're being discriminated on. Yeah, some people, I see some people in the comment section when you do videos about black people being discriminated. Some of them keep asking, why do you guys like complaining about racism? Why do you like complaining about discrimination? Are you the only people who are being treated that way? Some people will try to justify other people's action. But until you go through the same thing, that is when now you will want to stand up against anyone who is discriminating others. You can't feel it until you go through it. And that is the lesson that Jane Elliott wanted people to learn. She wanted people to learn that you won't feel pain when someone is going through that kind of discrimination until it's done to you directly. When she was doing her experiment, she didn't take members from this group to do her experiment with them. Yes, there were a few I saw, but she took majority of this group because she wanted them to learn. She wanted them to understand how it feels when these people are being discriminated. How many people have we seen being, unalived? How many people have we seen being sent to jail for things they didn't do just because they come from an inferior group? Discrimination can be so ingrained that people fail to realize that it really does exist. And by putting people in this kind of experiment, that is when now they learn, oh, so discrimination is real. This is the kind of lesson that people need to learn from this is don't treat others otherwise. If you've never gone through the same, don't treat them that way because you don't know what they feel. You don't know the kind of pain they carry inside of them. And we should always treat each other equally. We are in an era where majority of people are learning. Majority of people should know better. They need to understand that people have feelings, yeah? People feel bad when they are treated otherwise, when they are treated as less than. It's not okay. Yeah, guys, let me know on the comment section what you think about this experiment here. I know some of you have watched it before, but maybe you didn't learn something from it. But today, after watching this, let me know if you've learned anything from it on the comment section. Yeah, remember to share this video and leave a like as well, and we'll meet on the next episode.